talking about universities, deadlines itself, another thing that I want to bring to generally everybody's attention is researching universities. Which is very crucial because you need to find the right fit. And many students I have seen do not give that much of an importance to researching universities itself. They don't dive deep enough. Of course, an initial Google search or following ranking systems are, how one begins the university search process. There is nothing wrong in that. But what is your advice on how students should actually approach researching universities, and what key factors should you consider as a student beyond just the rankings? This would even be something like an important thing for parents to consider as well. Yeah, over to you, Manmohan.
I'm going to repeat the point that I made previously, which is this decision is going to last you for 4 years of your life. So you don't want to end up at a university and then find out a year or two later that there was another university that you might have been a better fit for, or the university might have been a better fit for you. Let me make this clear. You are paying a lot of money. It is a lot of money. It's a huge investment. So you want to know all the different options that you have and all the different offerings. That is absolutely, without a doubt, the first thing that I would say. And I really want to drive this point home, which is it's a lot of money and it's a lot of time. It's a huge chunk of your time in your entire lifespan. And this is going to be your first step into becoming a professional or pursuing your dreams. About the quality of education when you're talking about the US, I need you to understand that a lot of universities were founded 150, 200 years ago in the US. Compare that to India. Our oldest universities have been established in 1950s, 50s and 60s. That being said, the US just has had more time to develop their universities. What that also means that they have a higher number of quality universities. Historically in India, we've had what the IITs and the IIMs that were started. So 70s and 80s, we only targeted those universities. We thought that this is the only place that we get good education. And we applied that same thing to the US, where we thought that only the Ivy Leagues give you a great education. But if you look at even the history of Ivy Leagues, it's not purely research and academics, it's something else. I would want you to do that research. I won't tell you what it is. But the US has about 50 states. On average, each state is going to have 2 to 3 very good universities at the bare minimum. There are some states that have 15, 20, 30 great universities. So we're talking about a number of about 200 to 300 absolutely wonderful universities where you can, if you were to close your eyes and go to those universities, you're going to get a great education. Now it's not no longer about is the university good or not. It's actually about which university is the right fit for you. I'm going to say that again and again because each university's offerings are different. Each one of your uh, requirements as an individual is also very different. It applies to different people. I'll tell you in my case. So I grew up in Mumbai. I grew up in a metropolitan area, and I had a very strong desire to not be in a metropolitan region for my undergraduate studies. I wanted the full American experience. Um, that's why after a lot of research, I realized that the university that I applied to actually fits all of my criteria. One, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I applied to a university that is larger and had more options, more departments. So I can go pick and choose the subjects and actually make up my mind later on what I actually like. That's how I was exposed to sociology. If I didn't choose the university that I chose, I would not realize which subject am I interested in because I would not have the exposure compared to, let's say, if I went to a tech university. I would be a great mechanical engineer, but I would not have another experience. So the same thing applies to you. You actually might be interested in biology, but also at the same time entrepreneurship. So it might make sense for you to look at a university that offers both. You might be someone who is also interested in the arts. Let's say someone who's interested in the arts, but also wants to pursue something very filmmaking, for example. So it makes a lot of sense for you to go to a university that offers both, not just looking at rankings, but a better fit for you. I would even go as far as to say you can make your own rankings based on what is important, what are your criterias. See, the rankings are there. The rankings have their own criteria, and each ranking has a different this thing. If you see the top 1 to 3 universities, they differ from each ranking. That means that each ranking has a different criteria. So the same thing applies to you. You need to figure out what your criteria is and which universities fit that. And that being said, see, if it was only a very select few universities that are churning out great people, then everybody would just go to those universities. But if you look at the reality, Indian students are going everywhere. Indians are very smart. We spend our money very wisely. And on top of that, the bachelor's education, this is at the place that both of us worked. There's a very good advice given that your bachelor's education should be as cheap as possible, because most probably you're going to go for a master's. That's where you want to spend the big bucks at. One, but actually went a little bit deeper. Indians have this very nice term that we use quite a lot in universities, ROI, return on investment, which is a great way to look at it. What am I paying for and what am I getting in return? Am I someone who needs individual attention? Then go to a smaller university. Am I someone who is outgoing? I don't really care about individual attention. I actually care about exploring. Go to a larger university. Am I someone who wants the tier one city? In the US, almost all cities are tier one in terms of what access to luxuries you have. But are you someone who wants to be in the hustle and bustle of a city? Then you might want to go to a larger university, provided that you have the funds. Are you someone who's okay with going to a slightly laid back place where you very relaxed environment? You probably like the outdoors a little bit, and you go to a slightly different university, because the syllabus doesn't change where you go. The books in the library don't change. The quality of the professors will not change, because each university has to be accredited. There's a certain level of education that they have to provide for the university to keep functioning. This is very strict. That level of professionalism is absolutely there in the US, regardless of what university you go to at that point. This is something to keep in mind. And researching is very important, because, again, I'm going to reiterate the point. It is something that's going to affect 4 years of your life. The people that you meet, the experiences that you have, the amount of self-introspection and learnings that you have are going to last you a lifelong a period. So it is something that you want to put a lot of time and effort into. It's not just a test grade. It's not just which is not just an exam. I would say it's much more important than an exam. It's thousands of dollars, that's lakhs of rupees. It's your time and effort. It's going to be your home for 4 years. So that's the amount of effort that you want to put into the research part.